Hi, my name is JC. This is my channel, Simple Truth. I wanted to do a lot of things with this channel. I wanted to do an introduction video to this channel and what it's about, which I'll still do. This channel was started a couple years ago, and as you can see, I haven't uploaded anything on this channel for many reasons, and I kind of just want to open up and explore those reasons to you. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I feel like if I express and open up about what has been holding me back from sharing what God has taught me in my walk with Him. For all those who don't know, I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ. I have been following Christ for about maybe a little over 10 years now. I'm not necessarily a new believer. I still consider myself a new believer. I still consider someone who has a lot to learn, and I'm still growing every day. And there's just a lot that goes into my Christian walk. And so I've been walking with Christ for quite some time now. And when it comes to this channel, God gave me an inspiration for this channel, just like this light whisper in my head with this name, right? Simple Truth, a way for me to express some of the simple truths that God has taught me in my walk with Him through the Word and through just walking with Him, and and all that. So, and that's the idea that He gave me, and I did start making an introduction video a long time ago, and then I didn't finish it or continue it or whatever. So I held back from doing that for, I think, two major reasons. I know two major reasons, and the two major reasons are the first one, which I don't know if I'm going to end up separating this into two separate videos, because I probably will ramble on a lot just with this first point. But the first one is going to be talking about fear, and the second one is going to be talking about selfishness and idolization, which is going to be together. So just to talk about fear. Fear is a big one for me. Fear is something big for a lot of us. For I think most humans, and probably especially Christians. I have great fear in many things in my life. I've been fearful my whole life. As a matter of fact, I every time I think about it, I'm like, if I were to describe myself in one word for myself, right? Because we're all self-critical. I would describe myself as fearful. That's what I would say. I would describe myself as someone who's just scared all the time. Someone who's scared of everything. There's different aspects to it. There's me being there's a lot of general fears, worldly fears, and then there's also spiritual fears that I have as well. So I'm gonna start talking about my general fears, my worldly fears that I've always had, and stuff that I still have now that I'm working on, and then my fears with following God and my calling, and all this other, just the Christian walk in general, and the path God has put me on after He saved me, and just all that, yeah. And I would say that for me, fear has kind of kept me, I would say, chained in a lot of ways. I mean, I don't have a crippling fear in the sense where, like, I can't move, right? I can't do anything. I can't ever say anything, or, I can't move forward in my life. I've moved forward in my life in different ways. It doesn't cripple me so much to the fact that I can't move. There are those who are completely crippled by fear, and I pray for those people, because that's hard. I mean, I deal with my own fears, my own level of fear, and that's already hard enough. So I can only imagine those who have that crippling fear that they can't even move, and they don't know what to do at all, and they're just afraid to make any step forward. So I pray for those people who struggle with that, Christians and non-Christians alike. Fear is, there's a lot to fear, a lot that we do fear. I'm going to give just a list of reasons. And the reason why I'm sharing my fears is because I think it's important. I do believe that the devil uses a lot of tricks in order to keep us from doing what God wants us to do and what God calls us to do, right? So he'll use our insecurities, our doubts, our fears in order to keep us from doing what God said. And, spreading love, spreading the gospel, caring for others, everything, just moving forward in general, just a lot of things. He wants to disrupt God's plan to save everyone. And he'll use our fears and insecurities and everything just to keep us from moving forward with that goal. And so I believe by revealing that fear, right, hiding what's in the dark, right, because we're all afraid to some extent. We're all hiding something, and by revealing the darkness inside, right, of each of us, right, our fears, and bringing it into the light, it loses its power over us, and then we can speak more boldly and more courageously about whatever it is that God's putting in our heart to say or do, right? So that's why I feel the need to share my fears, and to start with that even before making my first ever video, because obviously I'm held back from making my first video because of fear. And I was thinking about it today, and I'm like, man, why don't I just talk about that, right? Why don't I just talk about fear? Fear is what's held me back from starting the channel. So why not start there instead of starting at a specific topic, right? Of ways I can, help you in your walk with Christ and understand your walk with Christ and what it all means, right? Just start with fear, because clearly fear is what's holding me back, and fear is probably what's holding a lot of you back as well from doing whatever it is God is doing in your life. So I'm going to talk about some of my general fears. So some of my worldly fears, I know I'm saved by Christ, but I'm still afraid of death, right? I'm still afraid of dying. I know I'm going to heaven, not because of myself, but because Jesus has saved me, and I believe that, and I believe in heaven, I believe in God, and I believe that I'm going to heaven not because I'm a good man. I'm not a good man, nobody is, but because Jesus died for me, and I put my faith in that. I put my trust and belief that he died for my sins, and that by believing in him, I'm good. I'm going to heaven, and I continue to walk the rest of my life to grow closer to the Lord, and to be transformed by him, and to be purified by him, and to be changed by him. And that's a long process. It's a whole life process, right? But in terms of my salvation, I know that's secured because of what Jesus did, and I put my faith in that. But I still fear dying. I'm still attached to this world. I'm still attached to the people in this world, and to the world in general, to my dreams and everything. I'm still attached to all that. It's what I've known for most of my life. So it's hard to break away from caring about the things of this world, and and look towards heavenly things. I struggle with that. I struggle with looking towards the future in heaven. And even though being with Jesus is greater than anything that I've experienced here in life, I still am fearful of losing what I have now. And going off to heaven, I'm not ready yet, right? So that's just something I'm being very honest with you guys. I'm fearful of dying still. But once again, I'm sure that I'm going to heaven because of, what God said. I believe in his word and what he said, but I'm afraid of people dying around me. I still haven't, lost someone in my close circle that has died, right? Whether through suicide or who has just died. I've been spared from that so far, but I know the day's coming, and I'm fearful of the day, and we'll see how I handle that. It's a great big fear of mine. But yeah, so I'm afraid of death. I'm afraid of people. I'm afraid of being myself 100%. I'm afraid of showing different aspects of who I am and my personality. I'm afraid of just truly being myself. I'm afraid of what people think of me. I'm afraid of being judged by others. I'm afraid of, not being intelligent enough, not being smart enough, not being skilled enough, not being, I guess, good looking enough, whatever. Just I'm scared of what the world sees me as. And I've always, I've broken free a little bit more from that as I've grown older. God's helped me with it, and I've, but there's still a lot that I'm holding back. I'm still terrified of just being all of me and sharing all of my thoughts and opinions. Not that all my thoughts and opinions are good or anything, but just in general, just being myself and being true to who I am and who God made me to be, and not caring about what other people think. I envy those who can just be themselves and not care what other people think. Obviously, there's really bad people who should care a little bit, because there are, that can also be really bad when you can hurt a lot of people and do a lot of things because you just don't care about what anyone thinks. I think there's always a healthy level, a healthy balance of caring, not caring completely, not putting all your weight on caring what other people think about you, but, also just like not being completely careless and be like, I'll just be a jerk and do whatever I want and be, no, that's not what God wants us to be either anyway. So, there's a healthy balance with it all. But anyway, so yeah, I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid of failing. I'm afraid of never being successful by worldly terms. I'm afraid that I'm never going to be able to accomplish my goals and my dreams, even though, God's put me on a different path, but I still struggle with completely surrendering my future and my path to Him and letting Him take control of my dreams and my goals. And, whether that is letting go of certain dreams and goals or just uniting them, giving them to God and allowing Him to move that dream forward and not having such a tight control over it like it's mine when it's not. So I struggle with all that. I would say those are some of my biggest main fears when it comes to just the world, right? Death, right? My future, my goals, my dreams, being judged by others, right? The Bible says, we shouldn't fear man. I do fear man. I was born with a disability. I was born with hemophilia type A, which is the worst one. Because of that, I had to be extra cautious growing up, and I've been fearful of getting hurt and fearful of losing my life. So there's things just I couldn't do like other people. I couldn't take certain risk like other people because of my disability. So it held me back from certain things. It held me back from, in my mindset, being normal like everyone else and being able to take those risks, and all that. But I'm fearful. I'm just fearful of a lot of things. I'm fearful of getting hurt, being rejected. Obviously, everybody's fearful of being rejected, fearful of not being loved, fearful of being your true self because you won't be loved, or people won't accept you for your stuff like that, Obviously, God wants the only opinion that should matter to us is who God sees us as, and to some extent who our friends see us as, and or our spiritual family sees us as, but more so just who God sees us as. That's 100% what matters the most. But it's very hard to live that way. It requires a lot of prayer, of asking God to help us with that. Putting our full identity in Him and not in others and not in ourselves is very hard. Just surrendering that, it's very challenging to do. But yeah, so those are a list of my different worldly fears. And now to talk about my fears of, I guess, my walk with God. And this goes hand in hand with my, channel, fearful also, like I said, of people, of what people are going to say about this channel, people calling me out for saying something wrong, which is fine. All I have to do is take accountability, do my research, pray, and, ask for counsel, and, take accountability where accountability is due and correct what I need to correct. And it's really that simple. But, being afraid of what people are going to say about you on the internet, and being afraid of just being wrong, misleading people, accidentally hurting someone, giving them the wrong words that lead someone to get hurt. The things happen, sometimes, right? And it's not intentional. We're coming in with good intentions a lot of the time. Some of us are, right? Some of us are coming in with good intentions, and we make mistakes and we get stuff wrong, and that can cause someone to get hurt, right? You just apologize and do what you have to do, and correct, and be humble, right? And humble yourself, and don't let pride take over. And yeah, so I'm fearful of what others are going to say. I'm fearful of myself, that I won't be able to, right? I don't have a good memory. Guys, my memory sucks. It's terrible. So I'm always afraid that I'm not going to remember Bible verses and stuff like that. And, that I get off topic a lot, right? Like, this is completely unscripted, what I'm saying here. But most of what I will do in the future, to some extent, at least in the beginning, will be scripted, because I want to explain my thoughts clearly and precisely, and I want to make sure I'm driving the point home. And I tend to, when I get off track, to try to bring a point that connects, that I feel is important. Sometimes I forget, and then I can't get back to the main point, right? So I'm afraid that, because of the way my brain works, I'm just not, I just don't have a powerful enough memory to remember verses off the top of my head. I'll remember themes. I'll remember topics. I'll remember what I read, in order to make my point, but I won't remember the specific verses or where to specifically find it in the Bible. And that's something I'm insecure about. And obviously, I can just, spend time practicing and learning and studying, and just trying to memorize stuff in my head. I do need to practice with that for sure, but I don't have that natural ability. I have to really work hard at it. I have to listen to it. I have to read it over and over again. I have to repeat it over and over again, because that's how slow my brain works. I wish I had a powerful enough memory where I could just hear something maybe once or twice, and then it's just stuck in my head and I can't forget it. My brain doesn't work that way, and I'm insecure by that, because people are going to be asking me of different questions, and I'm not going to be able to give them the right verse at the right time. But there's Google. I can open up the Bible and just try to find it. But that's one of my insecurities, that I'm not going to be able to, right? I don't know everything off the top of my head, right? I'm not a Bible teacher. I didn't go to Bible college. I didn't go to seminary. I didn't do any of that stuff. Okay, I am going to school currently to become a Christian counselor, so I'm currently in my studies. But even with that, I barely remember a lot of the stuff, because my brain just doesn't work that way. It's just very hard to retain information in my brain, and it's a struggle. But I'll remember the heart of what Jesus is trying to teach me through his word. So I may not remember the specific words, but I'll remember the message, right? So my brain holds on to the message. It won't remember the specific words, the specific location, the specific time and place, but it will remember the message. What is the point? What is the point of what we're reading, and what it's being taught, and what I need to learn, and what I want to teach, or whatever, right? What is the point? And so, which is a good thing. It's still good. It still has its use. God's still going to use that in me. But it's challenging, because, I fear of looking stupid, right? And I fear of looking like I don't know what I'm talking about, which I don't, to some extent, right? Some stuff I do know, God's taught me, that I do know, that I am, firmly planted on. But I don't know everything. And that's okay. I'm not going to teach on stuff that I don't know. I'm only going to teach on what God has taught me, and what I do know, and what I am firm on. And that's it, And before opening my mouth and speaking on something I don't know, just for the sake of trying to prove that I'm smart or that I'm wise or whatever, no. Say sorry, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I haven't researched that. I haven't looked into that. I haven't prayed about that. I need to spend time to look into that. And it may be a long time before I even do that, because I'm, have other things that I'm focusing on, that I'm putting more of my attention towards. But I don't know everything. So don't come to me expecting me to know the answers to everything. You can ask me. Feel free to ask me. And then if I don't know, I'll just let you know, hey, I don't know. And I haven't looked into that. Maybe I could ask someone who does know a little bit better. But it's better to not speak about what I don't fully understand than to speak just for the sake of trying to help someone or trying to prove that I know something, right? So anyway, yeah. So that is my general fear of starting the channel, right? Saying something wrong, looking stupid, not being able to remember specific facts and details in the Bible. But I remember the message very clearly. I can explain to you the message very clearly. I just can't specifically point out where it is. And I can do some prep work beforehand, but I'm not always going to be prepared beforehand. Some things just happen out of the blue. A thought just pops into my head, and then and it is what it is. God works in His own ways, and He's going to work through me in the way that He sees fit. He made my mind work the way it does, so I have to trust that He's going to do what He does with it. Yeah. So those are my general fear. I also have a general fear that I won't be able to accomplish what God has in mind for me, right? His plan for my life, that I'm going to squander my life away and not fulfill His purpose in my life. I don't know what that purpose is entirely, right? The main purpose is to follow God. And what that means is just to obey Him, right, to the best of your abilities, right, to be changed and transformed by Him, and just take it day by day. God doesn't always tell you His big plans. Sometimes He does. Sometimes He gives you a very clear answer about where you're going specifically, and He's like, hey, you're gonna be a pastor one day. That's the goal. All right. And every moment from now on, you're working towards that goal. I have no idea what my specific goal is, but He's given me a general direction, and I'm going towards that direction, and I'm trusting that He's going to get me there somehow, despite all my failures and all that stuff. And it's very hard to have that trust and that faith that He will get me there, once again, because of my insecurities and my fears taking over, and stuff like that. But yeah, so I'm afraid that I won't be able to accomplish what God has in store for me, whatever that is in my life, or that I'll be too selfish, which I'll get into the next topic, probably in the next video, talking about selfishness, or that I'll just waste my time on this earth, caring about myself and my own needs and my own wants, my own desires, and I'll just squander my life away. Or I fear that God will say, like, I never knew you. Like, I know I'm not a perfect Christian. I know I don't do things perfectly. I struggle with sin every day like everyone else. God helps me to surrender sin every day in different ways, but like, we sin every day, consciously and unconsciously. So it's very hard to just feel like you're perfectly ever like ready for Him. But we're not righteous by our own selves, right? We're righteous by Jesus' blood only, right? God's sanctifying us, He's purifying us as we walk along with Him, but we're righteous and sanctified only because of what Jesus did, and that's it. So as long as you stand on that only, on that truth only, you're good. And then you continue to walk towards God to become who He wants you to be, And I don't know, the truth is, we don't all know exactly what God's purpose is for us. Like, we think God wants to do great and amazing things with us, like these huge things, become a pastor, start a revolution, all this other crazy stuff, go on a missions trip somewhere and live out there for the rest of your life, serving them, but that's not everyone's mission. Everyone has a different mission. God puts everyone on earth with different missions for different reasons. So and I don't know what mine is, but our general overall mission is to love other people and spread the word of Christ, and to love, just to love others, love your neighbor as yourself, and to spread the gospel, the love of Jesus Christ. And that's it. That's really our main goal. And however that looks like, to different people in the world, everyone's going to have their specific mission. It might just be to your family or whatever. It might just be to people close to you, or it might be to people across the world. It might be to people just in your general area, whatever. And it can look at a number of different ways. You could be a teacher, you could be a pastor, you could be any other type of leader role, but everyone's different. And that's something I have to accept, is like, I don't know exactly what mine is, but I have to trust that by the time my life ends, that God will accomplish what He had set in mind for my life. even despite all my failures or my struggles or my laziness or whatever it is, like he's gonna work through that, right? I'm still alive, so he still has time with me, right? And he chooses when I go. So I have to trust that he's gonna do his will with me, whatever that is, right? Yeah. So, and that's hard to do. It's very hard to do. But yeah, those are some of my general fears with God, that I'll fail him, and that I won't be able to accomplish what he's set in store for me, and that I'll drop the ball. I'll drop the ball. I think a lot of us struggle, with that, in our walk. Like, are we doing what God's commanding us to do, right? And we're very judgmental of ourselves, so we're naturally gonna think, oh no, dude, I know how I feel every day. I know I'm not living up. I know I'm not. And those who think that are, super righteous, you know, probably think, oh no, dude, I do so much for the Lord. I'm great, I'm good. It's like, no, we all suck. We're all not perfect at it, and our works aren't going to be enough. God cares about the heart, and that's what I pray, that God will change my heart and God will change your heart, and that it will all be from the goodness of his love, that we do good things, and not from our selfishness or our self-righteousness, or us wanting to be loved and accepted by other people, or other people to praise us, or whatever. And it's hard to do that because our brains are naturally wired to like want to be praised, and want to have attention and be righteous and look good. But yeah, so that's it. Those are my general fears of the world, and my general fears with God and in my Christian walk. And that's why I haven't started this channel, because I've been fearful specifically of what people are going to say, that I'm going to mess up a lot, that people are going to judge me, which is going to happen anyway. It's the internet. People are going to judge you anyway, even if you say things right. If they just disagree with you, or they just don't like you, or they just don't like God, they're going to write it in the comment section below. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's the internet. People are going to say whatever they say, So it is what it is. I have to, it's just something, you walk through the Lord with, and you just hang tough, and handle each situation individually with humbleness, with love, with grace, with patience, with kindness, right? With gentleness, all that. And you just gotta handle it little by little, step by step, and not let your emotions take the best of you, but handle it the way Christ would, which he will help you with if you just ask and you just slow down, and we do make mistakes, and you just own up when you do make a mistake, and you admit it, right? You humble yourself, right? And that's what I need to do, is just humble myself if I make a mistake, and just accept that and move forward, trusting that God is going to just work through it all, right? Because we're imperfect humans, we get things wrong, and or we handle something wrong. Maybe we got the message right, but we handled it wrong. There's a lot of growing that we all need to do, that I need to do, right? So those are my fears. I wanted to just open up about my fears in general, and I think this would be helpful because a lot of people have fears, and just hearing someone talk about their fears openly I'm praying, give them the strength to finally break free from that and want to open it up, right? Bring it into the light. Share that you're afraid to someone, a family member, someone you love, whoever it is that you want to share it to, that you feel you need to share it to, that would help you to move forward from it. Obviously, share it to God first, right? God, I'm afraid, I'm terrified of this and this and that. Like, I want to be strong for you, but I can't be strong for you. I'm so afraid. I need you. I don't know what to do. I want to do these things for you. I know you're calling me to do this or that, but I'm just so afraid to move forward because of X, Y, or Z, right? It could be completely different reasons for you than it is for me, right? But I'm just hoping it'll give you the courage and the strength through hearing me express it, that you would be willing to make that step as well, to whatever that is, whatever it is that you're currently struggling with, that your fear is holding you back from I pray that it helps, that the Spirit leads you and gives you the strength and courage. I have some Bible verses here that I am going to read that talk about, that talk about what I've been talking about, which is, fear and not being afraid, and, the Lord helping you in that fear and giving you strength. But yeah, so I'm just going to read a couple Bible verses just so, we nail the point home, right? It's not from me, it's from the Lord. So I'm going to read Psalm 118, verses 6 through 7. This is from the ESV version. I kind of jump around in which versions I am specifically addressing. And the reason for that is because, so some versions I like more than others, how it's certain verses are said in certain spots than others. It usually always means the same thing. It's just worded a little differently that I feel drives the point home more for me personally. So that's why I, do it that way. But, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about Psalm 118, verse 6 through 7, the ESV version. It says, "The Lord is on my side. I will not fear. What can man do to me? The Lord is my side as my helper. The Lord is on my side as my helper. I shall look in triumph on those who hate me." So that's kind of referring to me being afraid of man, right? Of what other men will say or what other men will do to me for sharing my faith or for getting something wrong or whatever, just fearing man in general, what they think of me, what they'll do to me, all that stuff, right? So that's in regards to that, right? The Lord is on my side. I will not fear. What can man do to me? I mean, they can kill me, but obviously I'm going to heaven. But still, like I said, I fear death. So, but doesn't matter, the Lord has me, right? The Lord is on my side as my helper. I shall look in triumph over those who hate me. All right, so, and then we have Psalm 55, verse 22. This is from the NIV version. "Cast your cares on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never let the righteous be shaken." So, yeah, he's gonna take care of us, right? He's gonna take care of me, and the righteous will not be shaken, right? And once again, what righteous means is not someone who's like, oh, like I'm better than you, or like I'm more holy than. No, I'm garbage just like everybody else. I'm a sinner just like everybody else. I mess up every single day. I'm growing, but I suck just like everyone else does. So it's not that I am righteous, it's that Jesus is righteous, right? He was the perfect sacrifice. He died for my sins. He died for your sins, right? So when I put my faith in him, he's putting his righteousness onto me, right? I gave my life to him and my trust and faith in him, and he puts his righteousness onto me, not because of my actions, but because only of his actions, period. So just so you guys can clarify that, if this is your first time like getting into the word and the Bible and hearing it, like that's what righteous means. It's not about what I do in my life, because I fail every day in different ways, and I succeed every day in different ways thanks to the Lord, but it's all only God and what he's done. It's only about Jesus and what he did, period. Okay, so just to be clear on that, it's about the righteousness of Christ that's on us when we give our lives to him only, period. It's not, and we are called righteous now, right? Like God looks at us and he sees us as righteous, right? Because of what Jesus did, right, for us, and the other faith that we put in him. Then we have Isaiah 41, 13 to 14 from the NIV. "For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of you in your right hand and says to you, do not fear, I will help you. Do not be afraid, you worm Jacob." This was talking to Jacob from the Old Testament. Little Israel, do not fear, for I myself will help you, declares the Lord, your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. So yeah, this is just the Lord, Obviously, he's speaking directly to Jacob, but this is just to all of us in general, right? Like, God's telling us, like, there's nothing to fear. He has us under control. He will protect us. There's nothing to be afraid of. He is our God. He's the one who's going to protect us. He's our Redeemer. He's our Savior. He's there for us. There's no need to fear. Obviously, we're going to fear anyway because we're humans, but we need to grow to the level of trust in the Lord that we no longer are guided by that fear, and that we can surrender that fear and say we're following Christ anyway, right? We're following God anyway, regardless. So that's what that means. God's always there. He's on your right hand, right? He's never gonna let you go. Even when you feel like he's not with you, he's with you. He's right next to you. He's inside you if you have given your life to him, and he won't leave you, and he will help you no matter what. So there's no need to fear, and we work through that fear with the Lord, right? And then we got Second Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7 from the New King James Version. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. So, yeah. Now that we have the Spirit in us, there's no need for us to fear. He gives us that power, and He gives us the love, and He gives us a sound mind. He gives us that power. The power comes from Him, and I can speak from experience as well. When I was in an incredibly fearful moment, facing people who hated me, and I had to speak up, and I was terrified out of my mind, and I would reread the verse. I will reread the verse over and over again. I think it was Psalm 55:22 that I read over and over again. Cast your cares on the Lord, and He will sustain you. He will never let the righteous be shaken. I think it was that one. But I read that verse over and over again just to give me the strength, and I was paralyzed to say anything. And God helped me through it, and I couldn't even eat because that's how scared I was. And that's that's big for me because I eat a lot for those who know me. But yeah, so that's 2 Timothy 1-3. Just to say it again, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. And then finally, I put down, there's many verses that talk about fear and actually no, there's 2 more verses, but there's many verses that talk about, fear and strength from the Lord and all that. There's so many. You could go on and on forever, but I got 2 more here. Got Mark chapter 5 verse 36 from the New King James Version. As soon as Jesus heard the word that was spoken, he said to the ruler of the synagogue, "Do not be afraid, only believe." There's no need to fear. All you need to do is believe. Trust in the Lord. Trust in what He's done. Trust that He'll give you the strength. Trust that He'll give you the power. And He'll give it to you. You ask and you shall receive. It won't be easy, but ask and you shall receive. And then Joshua 1:9 from the New King James Version. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid, nor be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. God never leaves you. He's with you wherever you go. He commands us to be brave, to be courageous, to be strong, and we can ask Him for that strength and for that courage and for that strength, right? We can ask Him for all of that, and He will give it to us. That's a command, and we have to do that because we're out here trying to spread the message of the gospel, and we need to be strong and courageous. And being courageous doesn't mean you have no fear. Being courageous means you have fear, but you're choosing to move forward anyway and conquer that fear, right? Because someone who's fearless is fearless, so they're not really accomplishing anything. They have no fear. Someone who's courageous is someone who is afraid but is choosing to face that challenge anyway. So be courageous, because God is with you and He will give you the strength, right? And God has helped me through many challenges so far in my faith, in my walk. Maybe in the future I'll get into some of that. But God promises it and He'll give it. As long as we trust and believe that He loves us and cares for us, and that He'll give us the strength, He'll give us the power, as long as we have faith that He will do it. And we're like, you know what? I know my God is real, and I know that He's going to do it. It says it in His Word, and I'm going to stand on that, and I'm going to face this massive challenge that I'm terrified of, and I'm going to just trust that He's going to give me the right words to say. He's going to give me the strength not to run away, and He's going to just be there with me and work through me, despite my flaws, despite my fears, despite my insecurities, all of it. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I know this was very long. The next video, and I knew I was going to ramble on. It's a lot to talk about because I'm talking about my fears and how those have held me back, not only from this channel, but in a lot of things in life, and just wanted to open up about all that. But in the next video, I'm going to be talking about the second thing that held me back from starting this channel, and that is my selfishness and my idolization. So I'm going to get into detail about that next time and what that exactly means. But I hope this was a blessing to you guys. I hope this was helpful in some way. It was helpful for me, like I said, to break the chains of my fear and to bring my fear out into the light so that the devil can't control me, and and so I won't be hiding anymore. And I still have to ask for continual strength every time I have to upload, right? And every time I have to talk about something, because the fear creeps back up and the doubts always creep back up, and I have to keep standing firm in the faith of Christ, right? The trust that I have in God and in his power and in his grace and his love, right? I have to stand on his truth, period. And it's hard. There'll be times where I'll fail, and there'll be times where the Lord will give me strength and I'll succeed. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Like I said, I hope this was a help to those who are struggling with fear. There's plenty more verses that talk about fear. You can look it up. You can Google Bible verses that talk about fear. Do some research on it yourself. Don't just take all Bible verses. There's some stuff that are specific. Some of the verses that I read here are specific contexts for specific moments, right, in the Bible. But some of them you can just take out and just take. You can still use it to help push you forward. The Lord speaks to you through his word. But please, do your research and read carefully, the context of these verses and future verses that you read, so that you have a better understanding. And if I have misused any of these verses, let me know that I've misused them or in the wrong context, and then I'll look into it. And then, I can correct myself, because I will be wrong about certain things. And sometimes I may use a verse that's used in the wrong way, or maybe it's kind of in the right way, but it was not exactly intended that way 100%. But yeah, so just let me know. God bless you guys. I love you guys. Thank you guys for hearing me ramble on for 45 minutes about my fears. But like I said, I think this could be very helpful. It's helpful for me, and it will hopefully be helpful for you. Let me know what your fears are. Let me know what you're struggling with, and I'll pray for you. And hopefully one day, I can meet more people from this channel, and I can pray with them, and get to know them and show the love of Christ to them. But yeah, I love you guys. God bless. I will see you guys in part 2 when I talk about my selfishness and my idolization, which go hand in hand together. At least for me, it does. So yeah, God bless. See you guys in the next video. Yeah, thank you guys for hearing me. I appreciate it. God bless. Peace. See ya. Also, real quick, before I end this video, what inspired me to do this video was my friend Stephen Exley, one of my close brothers. I love him very much. He uploaded his kind of first, or technically second, video on his channel after a long time, and I was very inspired by it, obviously, and so much so that I'm like, man, I really want to just start this now and stop wasting time and stop letting fear hold me back. Him putting himself out there gave me the courage to just come out with this video. As sloppy as this video might be, or imperfect, that's fine. It doesn't have to be this perfectly, constructed, organized video. It's just me pouring out how I feel, what's going on, just what's in my mind, because we all go through this into different levels, right? But thank you, Steve. I will put the link in the description for his channel, Stephen Exley, which is just his name, and you guys can check out the video that he made talking about spirituality. That's in Ecclesiastes. I think I said that wrong. Ecclesiastes. It's a hard word to kind of say, but anyway, yeah, go check that out. It's just a good message. He's a good brother, and I'm proud of him. And thank you, Steve, for giving me the courage to start this video. He didn't ask me to do this, by the way. He just did the video, and now I feel motivated and encouraged to start it. So here I am. But yeah, he just uploaded it today, so go check it out. Anyway, God bless you guys. I love you guys. Have a great night.